Let's bring in Fox News contributor and criminal defense attorney Joshua Ritter. Joshua, 2.5 hours of just gut-wrenching testimony yesterday. Your reaction and reflections to what we heard?
That's a good way of putting it, is gut-wrenching. It was an emotionally exhausting day. And I'll tell you, the thing that struck me most of all was the strength of all of these people. Each one of them came in and in their own unique way shared how this moment, how this crime, how the last 2.5 years had affected their lives. We heard, very touching anecdotes that brought some smiles and tears to people's faces. And then we saw some of the clips that you just showed there, where people had the strength to look him in the eyes, stare him down in court in incredibly intense moments and tell them exactly what they thought of him. It was a breathtaking thing to watch. I've sat through many of these as my time as a prosecutor, and there was nothing I've ever experienced quite like this.
Yet, Joshua, after all of this, we still don't have the answer to why these horrific murders happen. And the judge had a pretty interesting take on the why. Let's listen.
But upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration.
Joshua, your reaction to those words, and do you think we'll ever get an answer to the why?
I'm so glad you played that, because I thought the judge's words were really incredible. They struck a tone with me. I agree with him. We probably never would have gotten a satisfactory answer out of Kohberger if he was even willing to give us an answer, and it would have just given him more attention. But I don't know if that's going to be satisfactory or fulfilling to anyone who really is frustrated and really wants to know why. Perhaps this is just one of those cases where there is not a satisfactory answer why. I mean, if you think about it, there really is nothing that I think we could have heard that would have helped us understand or be able to deal with any better the loss of these 4 beautiful lives. So probably the last words we're ever heard from Kohberger will be those words that he spoke in court today. And hopefully these families can go on to now try to put this behind them and heal.
Moscow police released documents last night related to this case, and we learned that Bryan Kohberger attempted to spy on police after committing these murders by using a phone police scanner on his cell phone. Did we learn anything else of note?
Yeah, we learned that we talked a little bit about the crime scene. It was brutal. It sounds like he spent, we use the term overkill. He spent a lot of time with some of these victims, 30 stabbings on one, 50 stabbings on the other. We learned about the police scanner, a little bit about some interviews that he had done with police where he was playing a little bit of cat and mouse with them, being coy about what information he knew and what he knew about why they were wanting to speak with him. So it was just the first batch of documents that we received within hours of him being sentenced, and I expect that we're going to learn a lot more in the coming days and weeks.
Well, he is going to be waking up in the state prison of Kuna this morning, and the Idaho Department of Corrections released this statement, Joshua, saying that they're going to evaluate his needs and determine appropriate housing placement. The process will take 7 to 14 days. They also say we wait until the person completes RDU to determine their classification, housing placement, and privileges. What sort of privileges do you think somebody like Bryan Kohberger will have behind bars for the rest of his life?
We're not talking anything elaborate. He's going to be under the highest type of security, especially given the nature of the crimes that involve young folks, crimes that involve multiple murder, crimes that involve females as victims. He's going to need to be under some sort of administrative segregation, some sort of protective custody from other inmates, because they're just not going to respond to this well, other inmates. But as far as, privileges, we're talking about maybe he'll one day have access to TVs and, computers and things and be able to communicate with his family in the outside world, but nothing really elaborate. We're talking about lockdown for most of the day, every day.
Well, Moscow police described what he did as not even human, and the White House released a statement yesterday saying the nation mourns with the victims' families, and we certainly do. Joshua Ritter, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joshua.